a hand-drawn psychological horror adventure about a 10-year-old girl who survives a brutal loss of her parents, ends up in a psychiatric hospital. We all know how much I love everything related to psychiatric hospitals within stories, not just books, but also films and video games. And today we are going to take a look at yet another disturbing video game that truly provoked me. At first, I just fell in love with the art style, the music, everything was perfect. Welcome to Check That Book, a special place on the internet where we get acquainted with arguably the most disturbing content ever created. And this time we are taking a wee look at I'm not sure how long this video will be, so maybe it will extend to the length of my Rusty Lake video. I am a huge fan of point-and-click games, and if you haven't noticed already, judging by my Rusty Lake video, well, yeah, you can tell. Fran was developed and released by a Swedish indie studio, Kill Monday Games. I love the title. I've been following this studio for a wee bit. They have their awesome YouTube channel, which I'll link in the description. If you aren't familiar with Kill Monday, I suggest you get acquainted with them. They're really nice people. I mean, they seem to be. They're a cute couple who created all of this madness. Such a tandem. I'm just Natalia, Isak, if you are watching by any chance, you guys are awesome. I can't wait to do more cosplays. I've done an Itward kind of cosplay. Not my best work, but it was very inspiring. It was fun. As a freelance actress myself, I always pick on something unique, and I believe that whatever Kill Monday produces is unique. The duo of Natalia Martinsson and Isak Martinsson created this amazing game. Look at them. They're cute. I love them. Natalia is credited as the game's designer / artist, and Isak handled programming and music. The story includes some autobiographical and therapeutic elements from Natalia's life, according to her. Reviewers repeatedly describe Fran as this mixture of childlike illustration and grotesque horror. The imagery, if you look into it, it gets progressively more disturbing, and we love it here on this channel. I wanted to cover Fran as a part of my introductions to disturbing games series, kind of. I mean, we've done No, I'm Not a Human already, we've done Resident Evil 7 and 8, which are completely different kinds of games, but yeah, here we are, right after Rusty Lake. This one seemed appropriate. How could I have forgotten? Well, I haven't forgotten. It was always in the back of my head, and actually every other year when I'm in the mood, usually around autumn, I do replay Fran because it's eerily calming. Again, the art style is so beautiful to look at. It's genuinely therapeutic. But we need a short recap of what the hell is going on here. Now, we have a setup in 1945, an interesting year, which we will return to a wee bit later. We have Fran, a 10-year-old girl who witnesses the gruesome murder of her parents and is found alone in the woods. She is committed to Oswald Asylum. Now, Oswald is the surname of a doctor who runs the place. Separated from her black cat, Mr. Midnight, Fran is desperate to get the fuck out of this place. Now, under Dr. Dearn, the children are medicated in this institution, but to be honest, Dr. Dearn doesn't seem like that bad of a person. He's polite and seems to genuinely care about Fran's well-being, as well as the other children. Speaking of other children, they are a mess. In each room we find a fact file about every child. In pretty much each room there is this fact file on the wall about each child, each patient. And trust you me, when you read those fact files, don't abandon this. If you play the game, do have a read. Whatever the hell is written there is disturbing already. Whatever kind of horrible trauma you can think of has been done to these poor children. There is physical and sexual abuse that some of these children have been through, and other fun stuff. I'm joking, you guys. This is actually a very serious subject matter. Each fact file tells you the name of the patient and why are they there. Fran begins experiencing weird hallucinations and a parallel phantasmagoric world where shadow creatures and surreal beings appear. We follow Fran on her journey to, first and foremost, escape the asylum. Things get pretty scary when Fran gets locked in Dr. Dearn's office with the help of Phil. Fuck you, Phil. Your parents never did love you. But whoops, I take it back, because Phil locking us in kind of helped us to escape. But it's actually not Phil, it's this mysterious entity, spoiler alert, Itward, whom I cosplayed, helps us to find our way out. Fran flees the asylum, wanders through a twisted forest, becomes a tree at some point. Still with me? Yeah. She meets on her way some truly unique and scary antagonists, as well as some friends. Does she find her kitty, Mr. Midnight? Yes, if you haven't played the game, stop watching now, go play it, and then come back here, right to this very moment, because there will be spoilers naturally in this game. Yes, she does find her best friend, her cat, Mr. Midnight, but does she really? What is our mission in this game anyways? Mission 1, find Kitty. Mission 2, get home. The plot reveals experiments by family members and doctors, possession, manipulation, and the finale that mixes death, rescue, and a bittersweet escape. The narrative purposefully, I think, leaves metaphorical answers and ambiguous closure. While Fran boasts a deeply personal and fantastical story, I found that, and not I alone, I found that some disturbing imagery and ideas draw from uncomfortable parallels to real-life history, such as the darkest chapters of the 20th century. Now, in the beginning I mentioned the year. Well, we all know what sorts of things happened during this particular period, and specifically to children in asylums, and not just asylums. The most chilling historical parallel, I believe, surfaces in the subplot involving Clara and Mia, the conjoined twins. They are a medical experiment, and the cold detachment of the adults in this game regarding these two girls is horrifying. This one immediately evokes the atrocities committed during World War II by Nazi physicians, particularly Dr. Joseph Mengele, the so-called Angel of Death. Mengele conducted systematic and horrific experiments of twins imprisoned in Auschwitz. He used children, mostly twins, because of their genetic similarity. It allowed him to compare injuries, infections, and surgical outcomes. These experiments were performed under the guise of scientific curiosity, much like in Unit 731. But in reality, of course, they were acts of cruelty that left profound suffering and countless deaths in their wake. In Frambo, the conjoined twins Clara and Mia are shown as victims of forced experimentation. It is clearly stated in the game that they weren't born like this. They weren't born conjoined. They were forcefully joined together. The girls honestly express confusion. Through their behavior, you can still see that they're confused and they're in pain, and they've completely lost their identity. You can't help but feel sorry for these two, albeit in the game they are sort of antagonistic. Also, whilst wandering in the asylum itself, not only children are weird, the adults too. I mean, in the case of children, you are feeling sorry for all of them, but for example, this fucker here. Now people like this shouldn't be working with children. And that was put softly. I hope a pineapple indeed grows out of your anus, you son of a bitch. The doctors in the game, especially Dr. Oswald, whose asylum are we originally trapped in, embody the same cold rationalization seen in real historical perpetrators. They justify their actions as quote-unquote research, quote-unquote progress, or even treatment, regardless of the suffering inflicted on their subjects. In this way, Frambo mirrors a grim truth that some of the worst horrors in human history were committed not by supernatural monsters, but by ordinary people who believed they were entitled to experiment on the vulnerable. In my opinion, these historical echoes deepen the game's psychological impact. I mean, it's already creepy, not only in a supernatural way, but also realistically. Like I said in the beginning, the traumas and the horrifying experiences these children had to go through, abuse at home, again, sexual abuse. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them were abused by the fucking guard in this fucking place. The roots of Fran's suffering and other children's suffering in this one can very possibly be grounded in real life patterns. They are. Now that you think of it, they are. Whether it was originally the intent of the creators, though, yeah, this is just my speculation here. But very well done if it was. And if it wasn't, well, that's just an extra creepy. And not creepy. Creepy is the wrong word. I think it's terrifying. It's a terrifying bonus, but bonus nonetheless, because it puts your mind to work again. You are reminded of what was happening, and perhaps, just perhaps, you will understand how lucky you are that you're alive and safe today. If you are, I hope you are if you're watching this. Now, I would also like to talk a wee bit about some references and echoes. The game reminds us a lot, of course, and most critics, of Alice in Wonderland, the lost in a fantasy childhood route. Critics have linked Fran's journey to Alice's descent into the alternate logic and surreal characters. Besides some references, but similarities, I would say, to Alice, there's also Coraline that you could think of, American McGee's Alice, of course, another amazing video game. By the way, let me know if you would like me to talk about that one too. But in my view, the game Frambo is reminiscent of Burtonesque visuals. Now, I'm not sure if that's even a word, but I would call it that. It reminds me a lot of Tim Burton, and if Frambo was ever to be adapted into a film, I would vote Tim Burton to do it. Reviewers and player posts describe a Tim Burton-esque, seemingly innocent aesthetic that cushions some horrifying moments, and Frambo is exactly that, I believe. Some write-ups also mention a cosmic or body horror vibe in places, especially where experiments and grotesque transformations are shown. But yes, my main connection would be to Tim Burton and Alice, of course. Now, despite of what was said prior, Fran is still a unique game. It is not your Alice in Wonderland. It is not a wannabe Alice. But I think if Lewis Carroll was alive today, he would enjoy playing this one, you guys. No, seriously, this is not the same. Whilst Alice was descending into madness, also escaping in her own mind, Fran, we get served the idea throughout the game, especially in the other game by Kilmundy, which we will also talk about on this channel soon, that the universe she gets dragged into is real. I will speculate a wee bit on that towards the end of the video, but this is something different. I have a strong feeling that our creators, Natalia and Isaac, they've made up a whole new world. Now, what disturbed me about this game, besides the references that I saw, it doesn't have to be this way, maybe you don't see it, maybe the creators didn't intend them to be there, but I saw these references to some historical atrocities, for example. Yes, that is disturbing. It always makes me nauseous when I think about it. I found another moment in the game. I played this when I was a wee bit younger than I am now, and the creatures in the game, the antagonistic creatures that are called Kamalas, they horrified me. And it took me years to actually understand why. And it wasn't because of their visuals. In-game, Kamalas appear as shadowy beings that gather around patients and in haunted areas as well. They're described in community and wiki pages as manifestations of darkness, often linked to the patient's inner suffering. They can appear right next to you. I mean, whenever you feel depressed, whenever you feel bad, you have to know that somewhere around you, one Kamala is eating at you. Most certainly so. Now, I felt like this is a perfect representation of depression. And that made me think, who do they remind me of? Not just because of their representation. In literature and also in cinema, who do they remind me of? Dementors of Azkaban, of course.
Dementors are vicious creatures. They will not distinguish between the one they hunt and the one who gets in their way. It is not in the nature of a Dementor to be forgiving.
In the Harry Potter universe, Dementors are hooded, soul-feeding creatures who consume happiness and can perform the Dementor's kiss, stripping a person of their soul, that means, leaving them vegetative. Their presence alone induces cold despair and relived trauma. Kamalas play the same psychological role Dementors do in Harry Potter. They're embodiments of despair and memory hunger, but Fran keeps them ambiguous. Like I said, they are monsters or manifestations or both. Unlike Dementors, which have a codified function, Kamalas are part hallucination, part chorus, an interactive mood rather than a codified enemy. And I find this revelation terrifying because, well, let's face it, Professor Lupin is quite right.
Listen, the Dementors are amongst the foulest creatures to walk this earth. They feed on every good feeling, every happy memory, until a person is left with absolutely nothing but his worst experiences. You are not weak.
They're both emotion draining and trauma embodying creatures, beings, both function as externalizations of despair and, well, trauma. Even visually, they remind you of Dementors. They even have this gaping mouth in some places in the game. You can actually see it. And they appear to be draining, like in this scene in the game with the tree towards the end of the game. The tree is suffering. The tree speaks to Fran and tells her to rid it of Kamalas. And the Kamala is feeding on a tree, which makes me think that yes, perhaps Kamalas are feeding on all of the goodness that you have left, leaving you sucked dry in a bad way. Now returning to a more realistic side of the story again, we're gonna be jumping around from surrealism and fantasy to gruesome realism, and everyone's been speaking about it, obviously, and I should too, because yes, I could see this theory being also, well, the most realistically accurate, that everything happening in this game is the result of Fran's dissociative disorder perhaps, and psychosis. The medical experimentation subplot indicates real abuse rather than fantasy. Remor, our main antagonist, and the darker figures, such as Kamala's, are metaphors for what adults did to her and her family. Supported, actually, by developers' comments that the story contains autobiographical and therapeutic elements. Also, towards the end, when Palontras and Itward come to Fran's rescue, at the very end, I mean, there's also Dr. Deern, who is completely out of it. So when they do come to Fran's aid towards the end, something makes me think that both Palontras and Itward could be real-life doctors in Fran's universe. She might be imagining them as these mythical creatures, but in reality, they might have been other two adequate normal doctors who genuinely wanted to help the girl, much like Dr. Deern, actually. And the three of them tried to cure Fran, tried to help her, not let anyone else take advantage of the girl or experiment on her, right? But then again, this theory kind of falls flat because, well, why does Fran distinguish between them? Why does Fran see Dr. Deern as a human being, as Dr. Deern, and Palontras and Itward as entities? Now, why would she? Besides, yes, the twins have also seen Itward, and we find out that they have in the asylum already. But they could have seen him, because if he's a doctor at the same institution, it only makes sense. But then again, who the hell is Palontras then? And yeah, this is a very shaky theory, but possible. Why not? Duotine, the pills that we are taking throughout the game, as well as other treatments, alter Fran's perception. Some sequences are hallucination states directly caused by pills. The Kamalas appear when she takes duotine, unlike in Thirsta when she doesn't. The game could be showing how psychotropic meds can fracture subjective experience, mixing childhood fantasy and realistic horror, or the horror of real world. Most symbolically, the game stages grief, and the Kamalas are grief's chorus. Mr. Midnight is attachment, Itward is this guardian strength, and the ending, again, ambiguous and left for open for interpretation. Now, why is this game disturbing visually? Besides everything that we've just spoken about, we have a very graphic scene during the opening sequence of the game, where Fran's parents are brutally murdered. We have asylum scenes and experiments conducted there. We don't witness the process of experimentation, but we see the outcomes mainly. Every sequence involving the Kamalas is disturbing, horrifying, and some revelations, especially towards the end, that come from Remor. Those are, truly disturbing. Now, whether Fran killed her own parents or not, I sincerely believe she did not. I'm not going to argue about this one. It's just my belief based on replaying the game multiple times and diving a bit deeper into the story, and just logic. I mean, a mentally ill child can be physically stronger than your average child, but average normal, I mean. But it's been stated at the very beginning of the game, when her parents were found murdered, that they were cut with surgical precision. Surgical precision. Sounds like someone who is used to doing surgeries did this. Not a mentally ill 10-year-old girl. So, the creatures Fran meets. Honestly, the faceless Kamalas, the horned Remor, the skeletal friend Itward, they're all open to interpretation. Are they literal monsters? Are they hallucinations? All symbols of grief and abuse? Some players hear the echoes of Alice in Wonderland, Coraline, and even Tim Burton's dark fairy tales. Others point to the influence of darker adventure games. But whatever you call them, Fran's world forces us to ask, when a child's mind fractures, what is reality? And who will tell them the truth? I thank you all once again for watching. If you like uneasy content, consider giving this video a boost in the form of an erect thumb, as usual. And make sure to subscribe for more if you haven't already. My shout out and my love goes out to Kill Monday Games. I thank you all so much for making me feel nostalgic now. I really need to replay it again. Because, like I said, despite all of its atrocities, it's a very calm game. In a very twisted way. I feel like I've been saying this a lot, but there's no action sequences. You can be chilling at home, wearing your cozy socks and drinking your nice hot cup of coffee and just, doing some work and occasionally going in and out of the game. That's how I like to do it. And of course the soundtrack. The soundtrack is... So yes, please take good care of yourselves and your loved ones, ladies and gentlemen. I shall see you all as soon as possible. Goodbye. Cheers, guys.